Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, yes, I'm late as usual. I'm sorry, beloveds. I was trying so desperately to get here on time, but alas, I still have some extra receipts to gather. I told y'all I'd be doing too much. Okay, I'd be doing absolutely too much. Okay, so now that all being said, hey Reggie. All right, Millicent is here. Claudette, Juju is in the virtual building. All right, let's get into it. Okay, everybody hit that like button. We the people. Juju said ancestors got my back and they right here. Okay, Dark Tube. Okay, so shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. A big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Emperor Rex, Chef Quan. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and she sells beard oil. All right, so first things first, let me just tell y'all. The Trump administration is so desperate. Okay, they are so desperate. Now, Pam Bondi, come to find out, had actually been spying on Congress. Now, we're going to get into it, but I find it all very interesting. If they don't have anything to hide, nobody did anything wrong, there's no one else to investigate, why are they going through all of this? Okay, why are they going through all of this? Now, before we get into it, let's talk about Nancy Guthrie, because there are a few more updates on this woman's case. Something about a black glove, you know, a video, I guess from someone's ring cam or whatever. So let's go to that, and then we're going to get into the spying they have going on out here, tracking members of Congress to see what all they were finding in the Epstein files and what they were looking for and all of that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And also, everyone, please don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving the notifications. Now, as I checked today before the broadcast, they definitely, excuse me, definitely unsubscribed more people, as they continue to do. Okay, so make sure you're doing your due diligence.
Asking neighbors to turn over doorbell camera video from specific dates she went missing. It is January 11th from 9 p.m. to midnight, and then the 31st of January from 9:30 in the morning to 11 a.m. They're not saying exactly why those time frames, but what can that tell us about what investigators know?
Because they have some sort of information or tip saying that there was an individual that caught their eye that was driving through the neighborhood, pulled into Nancy's driveway, whatever it might be. Because clearly, if you can find a vehicle back from that time period on that date, it may give you a lead potentially to someone. It may or may not be relevant to this case, but those are important little pieces that you look at in reference to getting an idea of who might have done this. And that also would apply to the gloves. Now, we don't know if the gloves are relevant yet, if they match anything that matches the video. And beyond that, is there anything on the DNA, hairs and fibers, etc., that could potentially link the gloves at least to the house, but maybe to a person? You may do the same thing with doorbell cameras, CCTV in or around where those gloves were.
Okay, let's go to the next report from CBS and Gail, or shall I say Cale King.
New clues in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Please, please, please on this story, including the discovery of a pair of black gloves near her home. Now, video from the New York Post shows investigators picking up one of the gloves from the side of the road, and they believe that it resembles the glove that we've seen here on the hand of this person on this very disturbing and frightening doorbell video right outside Nancy Guthrie's home.
Those gloves could be a major break in this case. Sources telling me they're now being tested for DNA. The discovery coming after the sheriff says they have received thousands of new tips.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since Nancy Guthrie is believed to have been taken from her home in the middle of the night. FBI agents are fanning out across her neighborhood north of Tucson, searching the foothills through brush and along roads. The glove shown in the New York Post images appears to be similar to the one seen in this video from Guthrie's doorbell camera the night she went missing. Retired FBI Special Agent Lance Lysing.
What stands out to you? From the backpack to the holster to the potential weapon to the jacket to the flashlight in his mouth to the unique ski mask. Most of them have some unique characteristics that will absolutely be followed up on.
The FBI is still trying to find out who sent an unverified ransom message to local news stations demanding Bitcoin. The Guthrie family at one point promised to pay despite receiving no proof of life.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
On Wednesday, TMZ says it received a new note also demanding Bitcoin from a person claiming to have information that could lead to the kidnapper.
A huge amount of cybercrime is powered by cryptocurrency.
Cybersecurity expert Alex Stamos.
There's a huge misperception about cryptocurrency transactions, and that lots of people think they're untraceable. That is totally untrue. Most cryptocurrency transactions happen in complete view of the public.
On Wednesday, investigators.
Okay, you all, I'm sorry. I should not have let it go into the next video, but I was trying to get one more receipt. I told y'all I'd be doing too much. Okay, but it's going to be worth it. Just pay attention. Now, let's go to this next clip from Inside Edition. Now, I think I need an overlay for their video, so let me just go ahead and find one real quick. Okay, now, while you all are watching this, I'm trying to pull up like 2 more videos because I want you all to hear other people's reaction to this video that I saw that's absolutely Just deplorable. Absolutely deplorable. Okay. I don't advise anybody to watch it. I wish I hadn't watched it. Okay, so now let's get into it. Here we go.
24 hours of developments in the Nancy Guthrie investigation have come at rapid speed. The story has definitely touched a nerve, with millions coast to coast all waiting for news about the woman now being called America's mom.
We have some breaking news in the search for Nancy Guthrie.
Just before noon came word something big is about to break.
Law enforcement is expected to release a surveillance photo of a potential subject in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping.
12:55. The images are released.
We have just gotten the first of these photos in, and I think it's important as quickly as we can to get this on the air.
Boy, this really takes a turn in the case, doesn't it?
20 minutes later, we learn it's not just photos, there's video.
This is a massive break, a massive lead.
Up until this moment, the Guthrie family, the FBI, and the Pima County Sheriff had really very little to go on.
Even the White House is taking notice.
I apologize for the delay. I was once again with the president. He and I were both reviewing the newly released surveillance footage from FBI.
For the rest of the day, every detail is analyzed and dissected.
Ask yourself tonight if you recognize anything at all about this person's movements.
The network evening news shows get the word out.
This has just been an extraordinary series of developments today.
9 p.m. Cops in Tucson are on the move.
It has confirmed now that a regional SWAT team and a bomb squad unit is on mission right now in Pima County.
9:40. The news everyone is waiting for.
The biggest news of a big breaking news night. A person has been detained in connection with the Nancy Guthrie case.
He's being detained. He's being questioned.
11:48 p.m. Cops search a house in the small town of Rio Rico near the Mexican border. The woman who owns the house is stunned.
They came out telling us that they had somebody gave a tip that the lady was in my house.
She reveals her son-in-law, Carlos, is being questioned by the FBI.
Does your son-in-law ever go to Tucson?
He works in Tucson.
What does he do?
He's a delivery guy.
3 a.m. A stunning development. He's not the one.
Man, I hope they get the suspect, because I'm not it. They better do their job and find the suspect that did it so they can clear my name.
A day of nail-biting drama ends in a dead end.
A law enforcement spokesperson says over the last 24 hours, they have received more than 4,000 calls to their tip line. The last 24 hours of development.
Okay, so we're going to one more clip, beloveds. Hold on. Here we go.
Nancy Guthrie. It is a mystery that has gripped the world. Police say that the 84-year-old was dropped back here to her Arizona home on January 31. The next morning, she was reported missing. Since then, this story has taken off. Investigators are looking at every angle, and the media is here as well. All of America's massive TV networks are here, along with little local stations, world media, and podcasters as well, true crime enthusiasts. Now, since Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, chilling video has emerged that shows a masked, armed man on the doorstep of her home from the morning, hours before she was reported missing. Now, the reason this story has got so much interest is partly because Nancy Guthrie is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, one of America's most well-known TV hosts. Now, for the people of this community who live here, not just in the street, but in this neighborhood, this story is very personal. You can see that they have been placing flowers at this home in support of Nancy, this investigation, and her family, because at the heart of all of this, it is a story about a mother who is missing. Who took Nancy Guthrie? It is a mystery.
Okay, this is getting more and more intriguing as the days go by. Now, the question is, exactly why was this woman taken? Does it have anything to do with the files? Okay, because let's not forget that Savannah Guthrie's husband's business was mentioned in there. Now, I just find it very interesting that all this is going on. And I hope she's returned safely. Metro Man said, yeah, I got unsubscribed again to a lot of Black creator channels. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get into these files. I'm going to share my screen to show this file. I don't think I showed you all this, though I did show you all one. I believe it was this morning about Leon Black, the guy that was involved with Life Touch, where he was doing something, you know, to how do I want to say this? To a 7 or 8 year old's bottom parts or lower regions. Okay. And but here is another email. Now, this one says, driven from blank to Epstein's townhouse to meet Epstein's special friend named Leon Black, brought to Manhattan townhouse. While she has always known the name of Black, she did not participate in the Epstein case or fund. Epstein and Black used to talk about victim and described her as being 10. They knew about her blank. From 2001 to 2004, she was trafficked by blank, sex with at least 25 different men. Now, this is a 10-year-old, okay? A 10-year-old. Blank works in IT, 5 different last names, tech experience. Blank DOB for date of birth, a blank last four of social, or blank current address is blank, and since October 2021. Blank was teacher of blank team, victim, then blank. Okay, blank had sex with men in front of victim. Blank handed victim off to Maxwell and Epstein. Victim had to sleep in their bed with them. U.S. Virgin Islands in late 2020 and early 2021, officials were trying to interview underage girls who had been on the island. Victim was interviewed, participated in around 2 meetings with a lawyer. Now, I want you all to pay attention because 2021, who was in office then? Who was the president? Well, Biden was. And it says they were interviewing these victims. So when these stupid MAGA minions are sitting there talking about, well, why didn't the Biden administration do anything about it? Why weren't they investigating the Epstein files? Well, they were. Okay, but they couldn't put all that stuff out publicly, like I said before, because that could have interfered with what they had going on, because Ghislaine Maxwell was on trial, okay, during Biden's tenure in office. Now, let's continue. So it goes on to say, and that's just not the case for Biden, because I think all of these people, many of them are nefarious on both sides, but that's just the facts of the case. Now, with that all being said, officials were trying to interview underage girls who had been on the island. Victims were interviewed, participated in around 2 meetings with a lawyer. Victim viewed Maxwell as a mother figure, but describes things that she did as mean. Believes that there were some men that Epstein wanted her to go with, and Maxwell said no. Blank, blank, I think there should be 2, blank to now lives blank. Has high school attendance records, absent constantly Fridays and Mondays, medical records, trauma from sexual abuse, rectal tearing, references to violence, R-wording. This is just absolutely beyond nefarious, okay, at the end of the darn day. Now, so let's talk about this video that I saw, that I wish I never saw. So, like I said, I wouldn't advise anybody to see this video. It's absolutely egregious and just traumatizing, like seriously, very traumatizing. And I saw a grown man, I'm talking about a big buff dude who looked very masculine, that saw that video and just was tearing up talking about it. That's how hard it was to watch, okay? At the end of the day, now you couldn't really see because they had it blocked out, but you can hear what's going on. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out that this person was being tortured, okay? This child was being tortured, screaming. I mean, blood-curdling screams. Okay, it was just absolutely egregious at the end of the day. So sad. And I just don't think people are upset enough, like I told you all on yesterday. And I'm not going to show the video because I don't want to traumatize anybody. I wish I hadn't seen it myself. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. AhmadIShakur. Let's talk about how during the hearing yesterday, Pam Bondi was so blatantly disrespectful. She was so combative and hostile. If they had nothing to hide and they were being transparent, why didn't you want to answer even the simplest of questions? All she did was gaslight and deflect the entire time, bringing up things that had absolutely nothing to do with the questions at hand or the hearing in general. But then she kept accusing other people of deflecting. Let's get into it. Quite frankly, she isn't acting as the Attorney General of the United States. She's acting as if she's Donald Trump's personal attorney and as if she can't answer anything because it's attorney-client privilege. Okay, please pay attention. Then she had the audacity to feign sympathy for the victims, some of which were present. If she actually had any sympathy for them, she would be doing some investigating into this and making some arrest. I mean, what about Leon Black and the allegations against him? Okay, basically R-wording someone that was clearly underage. And then also, what about John Podesta and that nefarious Skippy tape? Okay, that video. If anyone has not listened to it, then please don't. It is absolutely so traumatizing and awful. Okay, it sounds like he is torturing this child and forcing them to say his name. And, you know, for years, it has been known that his nickname is Skippy, and that's supposedly his evil twin. Okay, please pay attention. What happened to the victim that was allegedly offered to Trump? And he basically said that he didn't want her because she was pregnant and that they're all about making money. And then when they asked, what do you want us to do with her? Allegedly, Trump said, feed her to the fish. I don't care. Please pay attention. Even over in the UK near Windsor Castle, they have a picture of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein with the word nuts. Okay, and this basically means someone who is a PDF file. That's what they're calling the president of the United States around the world. So they can lie and cover up evidence around here all they want, but the rest of the world sees, and they are talking. Okay, and you can't hide that. Okay, please pay attention. Pam Bondi and the rest of the DOJ, they have seen the footage. They have seen the videos without the faces covered. They know exactly who these people are. And for her to sit there and play in our faces and tell us that there are no co-conspirators that they're able to go after is all BS. And they know it and we know it. And at the end of the day, when I heard that Skippy video, I cried. I could not sleep that night. It was so disturbing. And for anyone, and especially a woman, who can just sit there and deny these things have happened, who does not want anyone to be held culpable for these nefarious actions, well, that tells us what kind of person she is. And if you ask me, there's a special place in hell for all of the people involved in this cover-up, as well as the people who engaged in all of these heinous practices and did all of these wicked things, okay, to children and other people. Please pay attention. I mean, absolutely egregious. Let's go to this. I'll get back to the other Skippy, the other people's responses about the Skippy video in a minute. But let's go to Pam Bondi with the reporting about her spying on Congress.
Look at this. This is an image everybody's been looking at because it has the name of the lawmaker and it says search histories. So it looks like the Justice Department was watching lawmakers and what they were trying to find out of the unredacted Epstein files. We talked to a lawmaker from California who said she figures they kind of wanted to get out ahead of whatever lawmakers would be asking in the hearing.
I believe that they're surveilling all of us. They want to know what kinds of questions we have. I'm going there today. I am sure they're going to be watching what I'm searching, but we are trying to find the files that the American people are saying, how come this was redacted? How come this wasn't?
Take a look at this. This is an image everybody's been looking at because it has the name of the lawmaker and it says search histories. So it looks like the Justice Department was watching lawmakers and what they were trying to find out of the unredacted Epstein files. We talked to a lawmaker from California who said she figures they kind of wanted to get out ahead of whatever lawmakers would be asking in the hearing.
I believe that they're surveilling all of us. They want to know what kinds of questions we have. I'm going.
Okay, did I just let that video play again? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm in a whole nother world, honey. My mind is going. Seriously, I'm sitting here looking at this other video, deciding if I want to show it, and then I'm still thinking about some other stuff. Okay, here we go.
Her argument that, look, we took this down after 40 minutes with respect to Les Wexner, and in terms of the law, that it seems like it didn't give the DOJ enough time to redact these documents.
Yeah, the time argument
in a proper way.
The time argument can be made once, and it was made on December 19th when they first broke the law. And they said, we're going to take our sweet time, we're going to protect the victims, and we're going to do this right. And then they just failed miserably after they took as much time as they said they needed. They basically said, we're not going to pay attention to the deadline anymore. We're going to take all the time we need. and they still failed. And they're still withholding documents. I mean, the fact that they produced 2 of them this week, and without redactions after I found them, that's evidence that they're either incompetent or they're trying to withhold. So my question to Pam Bondi, which she wouldn't answer, is do you have any structure in your organization? Do you know who the individual was who put the black ink over the one most incriminating document there is on Les Wexner? That's the name I want. That's the person I want to come in front of oversight.
Are you confident you'll get that?
I gotta go vote.
Are you confident you'll get that?
No, they're not going to tell him who did it. They're not going to tell them who did it. They're just going to keep lying. And here's the thing. The reason they're doing this stuff is because they know they're going to get away with it. Who's going to give them consequences? Who's going to impeach them? Because they should be impeached at this point. They're blatantly disrespecting Congress and breaking the law. That Epstein Transparency Act demands that they were supposed to have all of the information out by December the 19th. They did not do it. They were also supposed to only redact the victims' names. They put the victims' names out there publicly and then redacted the names of the perpetrators. Okay, the accused, the predators. How does that make any sense? And then let's not forget how, what was that guy's name the other day? Was it Scott Bissett? That was being so, bold, talking about what's going to happen to him. Nothing's going to happen to him. And then smirked. Yeah, nothing is going to happen to him, apparently. Absolutely nothing. Let's go to this next clip.
Out, and Washington is still wrestling with what happened yesterday because, the Attorney General of the United States came to Congress to submit her leadership and her department to congressional oversight. Often that oversight is tense. Yes, often there are fiery disagreements. Often there is political grandstanding. But there are usually some answers and some respect and some deference to the separation of powers, even in the face of hostile questioning from the opposing party, which happens a lot. Yesterday, though, there was none of that for the opposing party or even for a Republican who was pushing back. And now it is not just Democrats who are excoriating Pam Bondi's performance. It's MAGA allies as well, lots of whom exert big influence in the far-right podcasting and social media world. And also some more mainstream Republican voices like conservative radio host Eric Erickson, who was aghast at her attempting to deflect an Epstein question by invoking the stock market. Quote, when the Attorney General of the United States is asked why she has prosecuted no one related to Jeffrey Epstein, and this is her answer, she should be fired or resign. But neither will happen, which is another reason the Democrats are going to have a good election year. There is also Republican frustration.
That's what I was telling you all yesterday. When they were asking her that question, she starts talking about the economy and the stock market. Like, what did that have to do with anything? But yet she had the audacity to accuse other people of deflecting when that's all she did the entire time. Didn't want to answer any questions, but talking about this is the most transparent administration in the history of the United States. Is she serious?
On Capitol Hill from Thomas Massey, who she personally insulted yesterday when he tried to get answers about illegal redactions. Reminder, Massey votes with Republicans 96% of the time. Also, House Oversight Chair James Comer, who said she's made the Epstein disclosure harder than it needs to be. Even Speaker Mike Johnson had a little bit of an issue, who, when asked about Bondi and that printout we showed you yesterday of Pramila Jayapal's Epstein search history, well, he admitted that DOJ probably shouldn't be tracking members when they're viewing unredacted materials.
She didn't answer anything. She came here just ready to talk about the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, which seems kind of crazy to me.
This has been a lot more painful than it should have. I think that a full disclosure of all these documents many months ago would have probably put this to bed. But it does appear that the federal government failed the victims of Epstein. From what we can gather, it doesn't feel like the government followed through with many of the people that they identified as co-conspirators.
I think members should obviously have the right to peruse those at their own speed and with their own discretion. And I don't think it's appropriate for anybody to be tracking that. So I will echo that to anybody involved with the DOJ.
Talking about he sure was an oversight. I don't believe anything he says, period. At all. Okay. XX Frank Nita said this is fake like reality TV. I wish it was reality TV, but sadly it's our reality.
I just walked out of the Department of Justice where I was able to look at some of the unredacted Epstein files. What I saw was incredibly, incredibly disturbing and further emphasizes the fact that this is a massive cover-up by the Trump administration and the Trump DOJ, because there were so many redactions that seemed extremely unnecessary. Something that I wanted to know that I'm very aware of is that we know we are being tracked when we are in there. Yesterday during Pam Bondi's hearing in front of the Judiciary Committee, she was actually caught with a binder where she had members of Congress and their specific search histories when they were in there, which is just absolutely appalling and ridiculous. So I'm aware that when I was in there with documentation of what I was going to look for, Pam Bondi and this corrupt DOJ are aware of that as well and are very much tracking that. We are not going to stop fighting until there is justice for every single victim and every single person who was harmed by Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and so many others who enabled these crimes. There's a lot more out there. So much more needs to be investigated. The allegations in these files are deeply, deeply, deeply disturbing. So next week I will be traveling. There's an important deposition happening as part of our oversight committee investigation.
All right, just a couple of more. Then we're going to get into the Skippy video, and also don't let me forget to show you all this trailer to a new movie that's coming out this summer. Okay, because I think they're trying to tell us something.
Hard pressed to find a horror story scarier than this.
Today I saw a worldwide sex trafficking ring with people in other countries sourcing young children for Jeffrey Epstein.
So that was one reaction from a member of the Oversight Committee. And yesterday, the DOJ gave the Oversight Committee access to the unredacted 3 million files that they released 2 weeks ago. Here's the second reaction.
Donald Trump's name is all over these files. All over it. I mean, thousands and thousands of times. If you spend any real time with these files, you will see references to 17-year-old girls, 16-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, 11-year-old girls, 10-year-old girls, and I saw a reference today to a 9-year-old girl.
And I want you to check out this third reaction.
These files implicate billionaires and friends of his and political donors that he's trying to protect. And Epstein also had close ties to our own intelligence agencies and Israel's intelligence agencies. That's why there's so much effort in trying to stop this.
So now when you think about the way Epstein died in prison, there's a French billionaire that was a part of all this. He was also found unalived in his cell.
And he's talking about Jean-Luc Brunet. Okay, I told you all about him months ago. Yeah, found dead in his cell too, in prison for the same reason as Epstein.
Ghislaine Maxwell will not speak. It's because the richest people in the world across the globe are a part of this. And the world gets tired of hearing about slavery, but this is where this all began. The Atlantic slave trade was the first time in human history where human beings were used as liquid assets on a global scale. The ideology of this modern trafficking network mirrors what they did during the Atlantic slave trade. The normal.
Now, once in the chat, if you all remember me telling you this previously, haven't I told you all time and time again that human trafficking is the same as slavery? Okay, it's the same thing. They did this to our ancestors. You see, this is why they have to be stopped. This is exactly what they did to our ancestors. I told you all, human trafficking and slavery is the same thing. That's really what it was, human trafficking. Okay, please make no mistake, and the devils have never stopped doing it. They've been making money off of people's bodies, okay, using people as commodities. That's what they've been doing. They've never stopped doing it. Okay, this is the norm for them.
Of human capital, the infrastructure of secrecy, and the psychology of dehumanization. When you build countries and economic systems off of owning people and you do it for hundreds and hundreds of years, you cannot then just pass laws and think that the ideology and the culture that was built just goes away. Owning people is the economic system for these countries, ours included. And many of the financial institutions and academic institutions that we laud and we praise as being so prestigious was steeped in owning slaves. When plantation owners defaulted on loans, you know how they would pay the banks back? They would give them slaves. JP Morgan Chase, yes, that JP Morgan Chase owned 13,000 slaves. There's a report that came out in 2022 that cites Harvard's rise to global prominence. More than a third of its funds raised in the 19th century came from folks who got rich owning slaves. You hear
And also, let's not forget about 4 or 5 years ago, I reported to you about Harvard, telling you exactly this and telling you how they had this, the belongings of the slave named Renty. Do you all remember that? And the family was trying to fight them for it. His name was Renty. Okay. And Harvard wanted to keep it because all they cared about was making a profit. All these people are just nefarious. Okay. Renty was an African man of the 18th and 19th centuries, born in the Congo. All right. And yeah, they basically had to go through this big court deal with Harvard. Okay, but let's continue.
people scoff at the idea of reparations, but this money, this wealth that these folks have is blood money built off of free forced labor. There is no restitution or apologies or anything that can clean this up. And any talk of change without the redistribution of wealth is purely performative. It was never about
He says it was never about racism. It was always about money. Well, to me, it was also about racism because they wanted particular people, specific types of people to be the slaves. Because we know who doesn't make good slaves because they can't stay out in the sun too long. Okay, but let's continue.
Talking about it on his popular MAGA podcast, but Steve Bannon is in the Epstein files. Thousands of times, actually, in the millions of pages of new documents released by the Justice Department. Epstein, a convicted sex offender, and Bannon, Donald Trump's former chief strategist, were friends. Epstein called Bannon his corner man. Bannon called Epstein brilliant. Now, Bannon hasn't been accused of a crime related to Epstein. Instead, these documents show that Bannon and Epstein maintained a friendship and a working relationship, a decade after Epstein had been convicted of crimes against women and girls. In one text, Bannon joked that Epstein was acting like his assistant by arranging flights for him. Epstein joked back, massages not included. Bannon was also trying to help Epstein revamp his notorious reputation. The messages show that in late 2018, after an explosive expose in the Miami Herald detailing Epstein's history of abusing girls, Epstein wanted to change the story. Bannon gave him advice. Bannon offered that maybe Epstein might fund a charity organization for breast cancer or human trafficking. But Bannon and Epstein settled on the idea for a film that Epstein wrote would, quote, humanize the monster. The plan, Bannon texted, was, quote, first we need to push back on the lies, then crush the pedo trafficking narrative, then rebuild your image as a philanthropist. The texts show Bannon and Epstein talking about meetings where they recorded interviews for this reputation-fixing film, hours of interviews. Most of these tapes have never been made public. A small portion of the project, a 2-hour interview that seemed to have been filmed in Epstein's New York City home, was made public last week too. It ends with Bannon asking Epstein,
do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
The film wouldn't be finished. In their final text, just hours before Epstein's arrest on sex trafficking charges in New York, Bannon was arranging to film another interview on Epstein's island. That evening, the last text from Epstein's number came, quote, all canceled.
Okay, I don't know how Bannon's ridiculous self thought that documentary that he called himself doing was going to revamp his career or his image, because after you've been outed as a whole PDF file and even convicted of it, okay, at the end of the day, how are you going to fix that? Wishful thinking. But now they say that she said that there's no evidence to prove that Bannon did anything criminal. Well, I'm pretty sure he did something criminal. Otherwise, why would he have made that statement saying that if they lose midterms, everybody in the room's going to prison, including him? Because he knows that he's done something. Okay. And then when Epstein said in that text, massage is not included, that lets us all know that he knew about those underage girls giving those massages more likely than not. These are the
survivors who are here today, whose courage and strength have brought us to this moment.
When survivors came to Washington, D.C. in September, calling for the release of the Epstein files, they were crystal clear about what that meant.
Why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability. It requires the Department of Justice release all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigations.
We're going to get a vote today.
On the day of the vote in November, they said it again.
Nothing should be off limits in the search for truth. Please vote that everything in the files be released.
But while some politicians called that the first day of real reckoning for the Epstein class, many of these women were skeptical. And they were right to be. A Channel 4 News investigation today reveals that all those pictures, emails, videos, and messages released by the Department of Justice, said to be over 3 million pages, may amount to just a fraction of the Epstein material obtained by investigators. Why do we think that? Because these raids on Epstein's properties, his Florida mansion in 2005, and his fancy New York townhouse and sprawling luxury island in 2019, saw dozens of devices, computers, hard drives, and servers bagged and tagged and brought to FBI offices for examination. Now, emails examined by Channel 4 News show investigators discussing those very devices. From the earliest stages, investigators were talking about Epstein's data totaling many, many times what has so far been released. In June 2020, one wrote, "We expect the data to be somewhere around 20 to 40 terabytes," noting that the total capacity of the devices was up to 50 terabytes. Then, as recently as last year, long after the investigations into Epstein and his associates had ended, the figures quoted remained massive. We're looking at a total of approximately 14.6 terabytes of archived data, said another email. To put that in context, it is almost 15,000 gigabytes. But now, a year on from that, the total data released, claimed to be some 300 gigabytes, accounts for just 2% of the total Epstein data that officials were discussing just last year. Under the Epstein Act, DOJ attorneys had to look through all files to find any responsive material that related to Epstein, his networks, and crimes. They claimed that 6 million pages had been identified, including duplicates. They released over 3 million. Both those numbers are tiny compared to the amount collected, according to today's emails. But earlier this month, the Deputy Attorney General suggested we should not expect more.
This review is over.
And yesterday, his boss added this about Donald Trump.
He is the most transparent president in the nation's history.
A performance that angered Pam Bondi's political opponents.
You're running a massive Epstein cover-up.
But was also not good enough for the survivors lined up behind her. This week, Lisa Phillips and Lara Bloom McGee, speaking in her first television interview, told me they know there is more to come, much more.
Do you think the administration has delivered what you wanted?
Absolutely not. No. We asked for all the files to be delivered, and all the files have not been delivered.
Do you believe from what you have seen that there remain redacted names in those files that we have no idea about?
Yes. Yes.
Well, luckily it's moving forward a little bit. A few members of Congress have seen the unredacted, you know, and the looks on their faces like this is bad.
There's more, and also you have to realize that there's files that have not even been presented yet.
And Epstein recorded everything in his home, so where's that video footage?
Do you think you'll get that?
I mean, that would be I think that's a missing piece of the pie.
In fact, Channel 4 News yesterday revealed spy cam style footage recorded in Epstein's Florida home. Today's emails go further. They show glimpses of a struggle between US investigators and prosecutors in 2020, not only about the amount of data, but also how to handle it. Many files are too large to open, says one email. There are many files that are completely invisible to us. We're sifting through more than 1 million documents without much rhyme or reason, says another. A third uses this vivid metaphor. Imagine if we had seized the papers from approximately 100,000 filing cabinets, then that all just got dumped in one big pile. Documents that had multiple parts stapled together got separated. And then any of those documents that was larger than 100 pages couldn't be opened. That's what we've got. Yesterday, survivors returned to Washington, D.C., hopeful, but still with more questions than answers.
Okay, now I'm going to go to this survivor who also came out to share her story. She didn't get interviewed or anything. She was just doing a video. So let's get into it.
Of St. Bart's. So 5 years ago, I was invited to the island of St. Bart's. A friend was dating a really wealthy tech guy, and it was some other even wealthier tech guy. I was told he was a billionaire. It was his birthday party. And
now pay attention. She said a tech guy. Okay, a tech guy. And he was a billionaire. Please pay attention to what she says.
I was invited. This girlfriend of mine, who is no longer my friend, had texted me before I arrived along the lines of, I'll be curious to hear what you think of so-and-so. He is no longer with his girlfriend. I think the words she actually used, which was so strange in hindsight, was that he sent his girlfriend home because he believed that she was cheating on him or something. But she was like, yeah, he's no longer with his girlfriend, and I'll be curious to hear what you think of him. I show up and no one was curious to hear what I thought of him. In fact, it was pretty much assumed that I was his property when I arrived. I was immediately disturbed by him. He had no apparent personality or warmth. Even his eyes almost appeared totally black and like devoid of emotion. So I was not interested. But there was a woman there who was the wife of one of this billionaire tech guy's friends, the guy who was hosting the whole party. And I'll never forget her role in that whole thing and what she said to me that is highly relevant to what we're all seeing with the files today. Number one, I remember a point at which we were, the three of us, me, this billionaire, and that woman, were sitting at the pool, and the billionaire was so drunk he couldn't even put together two words, but was like lunging towards me, trying to kiss me. I went like this, which I haven't really done in my adult life, but I had to do that because I was just so like uninterested and put off by him. And I just remember this woman like being around us, trying to make it happen, like trying to encourage us to get together. Ultimately, at one point, it got so bad that he started chasing me and I had to lock myself in the bathroom, and he was trying to bang down the door of the bathroom. And later, that same woman who was involved in trying to get us together in this capacity, she said to me point blank that she can understand where Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are coming from. That none of the girls had guns to their heads, that they all had free will. And mind you, this is a woman who I later learned is a lawyer for like estate planning for the very wealthy. So, you know, she's very incentivized to be around these people and to find, in a Ghislaine Maxwell type of a way, to find girls for them and to connect them with girls. In any case, there's much more to this story about this experience, but if it taught me anything, it's that it's a glimpse into the life of this ultra elite that they really think that life is all about pleasure, number one, like pleasure for the wealthiest contender. There was like a hierarchy. Clearly they wanted the birthday boy who was the wealthiest to have his pleasure first, and then everybody came next. But there was this hierarchy And also, people really did believe that girls who were coming onto the island as entertainment or as some form of distraction or quick pleasure, that they deserved it, like that these girls exist for that purpose. And that we live in this like animal kingdom, and there's this hierarchy of how the animals interact. Like that's truly what they believe. Anyway, St. Bart's is also really difficult to get on and off of. It's there's no direct flight. So it's in a lot of ways a perfect place to keep people if you want to keep them there.
No, doesn't this sound a whole lot like Blink Twice? How they were on that island that was so far away from everyone and everything?
And I believe I spoke to a lawyer friend who told me that it's a jurisdiction that's very difficult to prosecute. So to prosecute crime. So that probably helps them too. But yeah, that's a very abridged version of my story about St. Bart's and getting inside of the minds of people who are traffickers. Yeah, I would love to hear what you think in the comments.
Absolutely egregious. Absolutely egregious. Okay, let's keep going. Now, this is an ITV News analysis on the latest Epstein files.
This is the latest Jeffrey Epstein files appear to show that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Miss Tree says, like the movie Blink Twice, Age of Aquarius. Wow. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. I mean, they show us these things in the movie, in movies, you know, predictive programming, but also subliminals. And they have to show us, you know, these are the universal laws. They have to put the things they're doing right in front of us because we have free will. So they have to put it out there. But most of us are too asleep to realize when they're doing it, or we think it's just, you know, just a movie, or it's just something they put out. It didn't come from any, you know, anything that could actually happen. But people have to realize that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Thank you for your insight to the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Was planning a joint business partnership with the paedophile billionaire. It raises more troubling questions over Andrew's official role as trade envoy and his associations with Epstein. Our UK editor Paul Brand has joined us in the studio for more on this. So Paul, what exactly do these emails suggest?
Well, we're looking at a crucial period here, Charlene, when Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was a trade envoy. The question being, was he doing his own trades on the side to profit from that role himself? And we poured through the emails in the Epstein files and found several that do raise interesting questions about whether at that point he was trying to set up a business with Epstein, then a convicted paedophile, and also with a middleman called David Stern. He later headed up Andrew's charity, Pitch at the Palace, later on in this whole timeline. So let's take a look at some of these emails. This is the first one that mentions the business. This is an email from Andrew to David Stern, in which he says he's having discussions about a company called the Green Park Group. He says, I know you'll have spoken to the guru. We assume that means Epstein. It might be that he and you are the ghost in the upside of this entity. Was Andrew suggesting that they be the discreet partners in this business for him? Well, another email puts it more bluntly, this time from David Stern to Epstein. It says, we very discreetly make PA, we assume that means Prince Andrew, part of the business and use his aura and access. They spend a while then debating the name of the company. They settle on Witten. If you don't know, that means a royal council, apparently, in Anglo-Saxon England. Well, David Stern says to Epstein that Prince Andrew didn't know what it meant either. In this last email, he says, since he did not know what it was when I told him it should be safe. Again, why do they care that the business name is safe, that it's discreet? It all raises questions.
So will there be any repercussions for this?
Well, potentially the issue here could be misconduct in a public office. Was, as I say, Prince Andrew, as he was then, misusing his role as trade envoy to profit from it. Prince Andrew, as he was then, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has always denied any wrongdoing, or at least previously has. David Stern hasn't replied to our attempts to get some comment from him this evening, but Thames Valley Police are already investigating Andrew, and tonight they're saying that they will take what we've discovered into account in their investigation too.
Okay, Paul, thanks very much.
Okay, so now this is a video from, I believe it was around 2009. And this is where they show Epstein's butler trying to sell his black book, okay? Trying to use it to make a profit. Maybe he stole it. I don't know how he got his hands on it. But this was actually a sting operation.
Last name, area codes, it's okay.
Who created this book?
Epstein himself.
This book was made by Epstein?
This is a video of an FBI sting operation with Jeffrey Epstein's former house manager and an undercover FBI employee from 2009. The Palm Beach house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, believes he is selling Epstein's address book to someone representing a lawyer of Epstein's victims.
You will see a lot of important people here.
He claims that the book contains contacts of powerful people, as well as Epstein's victims.
So those are mostly underage girls, those numbers?
They were very young.
A source familiar with the case confirmed the video shows the sting operation, which court documents show happened 2 years after the FBI demanded that Rodriguez turn over any Epstein documents. Instead, court documents say he kept the address book and tried to sell it for $50,000. In the occasionally redacted 45-minute video of the meeting, Rodriguez implicates Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate, who is now serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking of minors.
Ghislaine Maxwell was his former companion, a very powerful lady from England. She would go to the former Eastern countries and in Europe and find girls for Epstein. And I knew that because I went with my wife.
Rodriguez also claims that Maxwell kept a computer database of girls, something he said he saw briefly once.
Pictures. Naked girls from Sweden, from Romania, from Czechoslovakia, from Brazil, from
All
Colombia.
minors? All young girls?
Very young, very young.
Like when you say very young, how young are you talking?
17, the teenagers, they have races most.
Rodriguez provided no evidence to support the existence of the database. The video, released as part of the recent trove of Epstein documents, abruptly ends after the agent hands Rodriguez a bag of cash and says he will call the lawyer. Rodriguez was arrested for failing to turn over the book as evidence. He claimed the book was his property and that he should be compensated for it, saying it was his insurance policy and that he feared Epstein would make him disappear or harm him. He eventually pleaded guilty to obstruction charges. At sentencing, prosecutors said that if Rodriguez had turned over the book in 2007, when authorities first requested it, it would have significantly advanced the ball toward bringing Epstein to trial, rather than allowing him to secure a plea deal. Rodriguez was sentenced to 18 months in prison and died in 2014.
Well, I find that interesting. I wonder how he died. And he's sitting there trying to make a buck rather than just turn it over so they could, do the investigation, is what they're saying. Oh, well, now with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now we're about to get into the Skippy videos, but first, this man seems to think that there's something nefarious being sold in grocery stores because he's been out there investigating. And here's what he found. I want y'all to pay attention. This is all so disgusting. How can anybody trust to eat any sort of meat, that's ground up, okay, again, ever, knowing the things that we've seen and read in these videos or in these files?
Been to Kroger, I've been to Target, I've been to Walmart, I've been to Aldi, Food Lion, Piggly Wiggly, Whole Foods, and Fresh Thyme. Every single one of them has a prepackaged ground meat that will not tell you, number one, where it comes from, number two, where it's packaged, and what kind of procedures that it goes through in order for us to know that it's safe. If you ask them behind the counter, they're going to tell you there's a thing on the back, scan it with your phone, and it's going to take you to a website that the FDA has put out there. And what it's going to say is, it could either be 3D printed, it could be a cloned animal. Let's just put it out there. If that's a problem, well, TikTok, you need to check the FDA website because it says it could be. Folks, God, I got to be careful.
It's so frustrating. He said, God, I got to be careful. Yeah, you do. It is so frustrating because you can't say what you really want to say sometimes. Okay, you just have to hope people can figure it out. And I know some people are a little slow, so they may not catch on, specifically MAGA. Okay, now here's the first video I'm going to show, the reaction to someone who saw that Skippy video that I saw, okay, yesterday. Here we go.
I just saw the Skippy video. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand, bro. Yo, hell is empty. The demons are here. Y'all worried about going to jail, the police, or whatever. Yo, I don't understand why these people are still here, bro.
Now I want you all to pay attention. This man said hell is empty, the demons are here. His video came out 3 hours ago. If you look at the time, 3 hours ago he did this video. Didn't I tell y'all that yesterday? Said the same exact thing, literally. I said hell's empty. The devil and demons are right here amongst us. And they are. Okay? They are. They absolutely are. All right, please pay attention. And yeah, he's talking about people scared to go to jail. People should be willing to die for this, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, at the end of the day, to stop these people, because they are literally, listen, if somebody doesn't do anything about this, this is going to continue. This is going to continue. All of these children, over 800,000 children in the United States alone, coming up missing annually to be eaten and tortured, and nobody's getting arrested.
Like straight up, I don't understand why they wake up and like, I'm trying to watch what I say, but y'all know what the fuck I'm trying to say for real. Y'all know what the fuck I'm trying to say. Like, I don't understand why it hasn't been taken there. Because I'm gonna tell you straight up, if I see one of them, I'm taking it there. It's on site. Like it's on site, bro.
That's right.
It's on site. Like I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And I will tell it to the judge. I don't give a fuck. And the problem is y'all don't feel like I feel. Y'all, too many of y'all don't fucking feel how I feel for real. And that's why they do this shit, because they think that you worried about consequences. Are they worried about motherfucking consequences for real? Are they worried about consequences when they're eating your children or doing what they're doing sexually with your kids? Like, do they give a fuck? Y'all got all these bricks for what? What's the point? What's the point when they get to do what the fuck they want to do? I don't understand. What is the point when they still get to do what the fuck they want to do? Y'all got all this smoke for your local gang member down the street. You got smoke for fucking ICE, but you ain't got no motherfucking smoke for these people, bruh.
Exactly.
You ain't got no motherfucking smoke for these people, bruh.
They're not mad. I don't get it. At the end of the day, I do not get it. I mean, I don't understand how anybody could not be ready to throw down. Like, we need to be out there in the streets for real. Okay, at the end of the day. But, you know, I guess people don't give a damn.
So, last night I watched the Skippy video. And when I say that was the hardest thing I ever watched, I cried myself to sleep last night thinking about it. I couldn't get those screams out of my head. I think it's time that we, the people, take matters into our own hands. because somebody has to answer for this. Yep. So
That's absolutely not true. Roberta on deck says this is huge and only God can stop it. No, that's not true. We could stop it. The people could stop it. If people would get up and say something and do something. And at the end of the day, we do not have to put up with this. But people are scared, I guess. I don't know what the problem is. People are willing to take to the streets for everything else. People are not mad enough. Okay? People are not mad enough, period. And to say that we're going to, that only God can do it means that we're not going to do nothing or there's nothing we can do. That's taking the easy way out just so you don't have to feel compelled to do anything.
I don't care if I got to post about this shit every day, for real, bro. That video fucked me up, bro. I ain't gonna lie, the video fucked me up, bro. Burn this bitch down, bro. With like the whole system gotta, cause it's the rollers, it's the feds, it's the gun. I don't care if I got to post about this shit every day, for real, bro. That.
Like, please. Pray to God for strength and guidance. This is all crazy at the end of the day. Nobody's going to do anything, I guess. I can't do it by myself.
I don't know why the fuck we're still paying taxes. Are we paying taxes so that those disgusting, vile motherfuckers that are in the billionaire group and all the elites can just continue their devil work? Is that what's fucking happening? Like, you guys are, the shit that I have seen in the fucking files are worse than a horror movie, bitch. Worse than a fucking horror movie. This is real life. Send help, bitch. Okay? At this point, I don't know why the fuck we're still.
No lies detected at the end of the day.
I just watched the Skippy video. I should not have done that, but I am very glad I did. Wood chipper. No. Firing squad on every single son of a bitch involved in this. Oh, I'm trying not to be sick. I am so fucking angry. The way that kid was screaming. I need you all to understand, I am an uncle. I will. To anyone that touches my nieces or nephews. I have never been this fucking angry before. This is disgusting. I need to give a shout out to big old Texan family for putting me onto this. I'm not angry at you. It is very important that this is not put away. This is fucking disgusting.
Sick ass stuff, for real.
So I accidentally just got the Skippy video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please, I'm begging you. I'm telling you right now, don't go look it up. Okay. It was sent to me by someone who had that good intentions, and they wanted me to call it out on my platforms because I have such a huge following on my Instagram and Facebook. This message is for President Trump. It's not. Earlier today, P.S. Trump, fuck you. I'm gonna say that. Earlier today, you said it's time for us to move on from these Epstein files. The fuck are you talking about? Who's been arrested? Who's been arrested? There are people currently right now, like the Skippy, who is in the government. And if you can watch that video and hear that child and say we need to move on, you are worthless in my eyes until you do something. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. We need to burn this motherfucker to the ground until every single person that was involved in this, my guys, I know my platform isn't political. Goddamn, I feel like at this point, if you're not saying anything, you're complicit. Like you're okay with what happened to these women, these children, these young boys, these men. And it was done by the highest powers in government. It was done by the most powerful people that are supposed to protect. I'm begging you, don't go listen to the video. I'll never forget it. I turned it off as soon as I kind of got an idea what I was watching. But that's something I will never get out of my head. Burn this fucking shit to the ground until we expose every one of them. Trump, that is your fucking job. Do your fucking job.
He's not going to do it because he's probably the main one. And you know, they said that Epstein worked for Trump. I don't really believe that because Trump's too stupid. Epstein was much smarter than him.
Coming back from
They're both stupid,
if
but
you
you
see
know what
that
I'm
Skippy
saying.
video, which I wish I didn't even have to experience in my lifetime, you feel me? Because I've experienced a lot of trauma. And I feel like that right there being an empathy. If you seen that Skippy video, understand when I say we need to burn this bitch to the soil, I stand on that. And I hope y'all understand what I'm saying now. Like, I hope y'all hear it. Man, as creators, we want shit to go viral. I like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't never wanted nothing to go viral more than to tell y'all to burn this bitch down. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch. Just type in put in Skippy video, bro. That shit ain't right. Burn this bitch, bro. On my soul, burn this bitch.
Yeah, darn sure ain't no coming back. Now, listen to this because this lady is doing a video about who's behind the torture video.
Files. His name is Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem. We learned this just an hour ago from Thomas Massey. He believes that Sultan is behind this email. It says, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." That's what Jeffrey Epstein is saying to him. And then he says, "I am in China. I will be in the US second week of May." We have also just learned that Les Wexner has been named as a co-conspirator with Epstein in the redacted files tonight. One document in the recent file, it says, blank stated Epstein earned his money from having sex with Wexner. Old Les here is the former CEO of Victoria's Secret, huge businessman, along with Bath & Body Works, Abercrombie & Fitch, and more. Epstein wrote a draft message to Les Wexner about, quote, gang stuff, and bets the two owed each other. Epstein mentioned that they were in these gang stuff for more than 15 years. Epstein also wrote about an argument with Les Wexner's wife, Abigail, where she made, quote, very unfair, aggressive, and false accusations. And then Epstein wrote that he wouldn't fully answer Abigail Wexner because it would violate a confidence between two men. Epstein also wrote that he would never put Les Wexner in harm's way. Epstein suggested Les Wexner stay silent if Abigail Wexner questioned him. And Epstein wrote, quote, "We don't know what we don't know." It has just been revealed that this is the
Now, the video that she is talking about is not, hold on. Okay, now the video that she's talking about is the video they were talking about in the email. I enjoyed the torture video. Now, I don't believe that he's behind the Skippy video. I believe the person behind that video is absolutely John Podesta, because John Podesta, his nickname is Skippy. He says that's his evil twin. Okay, hold on. Here it is right here. John Podesta is tightly coiled. He's moody. When word spreads around the White House that he's in one of his frequent foul humors, people like to say Skippy, as his evil twin, is in that day. He's allergic to the spotlight in the city where most people crave it. Okay, yeah. So that's Skippy right there. Okay, that's the Skippy. And also, in this video, when you hear this little boy screaming and you hear this person saying, "What's my name? What's my name?" And he says, you hear him, it sounds like he says John Podesta. That's what it sounds like the man is saying, John Podesta. And then he's telling the child, "I'm your father, I'm your daddy now," and all this crazy stuff. Okay, these videos, and and there's more than one. There's more than one, but I don't want to see any more of them. Okay, I don't want to see a single one. I don't want to see any more of them. Now, Miss Tree says, "Imagine what they did to our ancestors." Yeah, exactly. Read Delectable Negro, beloved. Okay, I appreciate your contribution and your insight into the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. This is all just some crazy stuff. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this video from David Wilcox, who exposes them. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. And then after this, we're going to have a Black History moment. Hold on. Oh, let's go to this video first. This young lady talking about your mental health as you're watching the Epstein files. As you go through them, you definitely need to make sure your mental health is intact. Okay, it's not for the faint at heart.
You are going to be reading these Epstein files and watching these videos, please make sure to take care of your mental health. The human body is not meant to absorb that much trauma and that level like that, and it can really affect your nervous system and damage it. Last night, I saw the video where John Podesta was torturing and traumatizing a kid behind a shower. And though you can't see everything that's happening, you can hear this child just screaming at the top of their lungs the entire video. And my body started to have a physical reaction to where I felt like the energy was being sucked from my body. When you are watching these videos and looking at these emails and looking at these files, you are absorbing that trauma. And I literally almost had a panic attack last night after watching that video. And I decided yesterday that that was the first and the last time that I was ever going to be watching any videos concerning the Epstein files. Please take care of your mental health. Please take care of your nervous system. Do not go into this thinking that it's not that bad, because it really is that bad. And that video traumatized me. You don't have to see what's going on in order for your body to react to that.
Very traumatizing. I'm telling you all, after I saw that video, I was broke down crying. My heart was broken, literally broken, and it still is. Okay, now we're going to go to David Whitlock, like I said, and I'm going to put an overlay over this, but he's going to tell you what these people do. Now, I've known this stuff for years. I have a book right here to my left. It's called Ruled by Secrecy. I read that years ago. I've been researching these devils. I saw The Reptilian Agenda by David Icke. I've been researching this stuff for quite some time.
Things that I learned from whistleblowers from the cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. So I really want to make sure that this gets into the film. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Now think about that. Well, I didn't give them permission. So why did they put this plan?
And see, this is what I want you all to pay attention to. You see, these people are not human, and I've told you all that a myriad of times. These people are demons and devils. Okay, there's more than one devil. Satan is the leader of them, but devil is simply a title. These people are demons and devils. They are not human beings. Okay, and so God gives us all power, authority, and dominion over demons and devils. That's in the Bible. So when people are saying, "Oh, only God can stop them," no, we have the power to stop them. It's just that so many of us don't want to do anything but sit here and complain or just listen because it's all salacious information, right? But let's continue.
3 world wars on display in a book that's hanging there open behind glass in the British Museum Library of London. And those 3 world wars that they're outlining are exactly World War I, World War II, and the war on terrorism. Because the rules state that they have to tell us what they're doing. Therefore, if we allow it to happen, we have consented to tyranny, we have consented to enslavement. Now, if you get into the secret history of the cabal. This was rediscovered by Queen Elizabeth, the original Elizabeth that we've heard about from the 1500s. Queen Elizabeth's royal astrologer, a man named John Dee, who is the prototype of the wizard with the long beard, the hat. And what he did was to rediscover, through these ancient documents that were in the Vatican, the technology of how to access what they considered to be spiritual beings that were useful to them, but what we would consider to be demonic or evil beings. These beings need to be accessed through a very complex set of rituals and ceremonies. You cannot just ask for them to show up. You have to follow very elaborate and specific protocols. If you follow those protocols, it's like having an IP address, which is what we use to go online in order to notate a website. Every website has its own IP address. These spiritual beings, such as Baal and Moloch, which they still do ceremonies for today, such as in Bohemian Grove, there is a giant effigy, stone effigy of an owl. That's the god Moloch. The god Moloch goes all the way back to Rome and Carthage, in which they were offering child sacrifices to this god in exchange for power. So John Dee rediscovered the technology of how to draw the magic circles, how to say the right incantations, how to actually do black magic on a governmental level. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic, and they are very, very good at it. One of the things
they practice black magic and they're very, very good at it, he says. And also, I want you to pay attention to the fact that he just used the word disclosure. Disclosure. And guess what? The movie that they have coming out, and I'm about to show you the trailer. I'm going to show you 3 clips from the trailer, okay? But this movie is called Disclosure Day. And they're about to get us ready for something. Please pay attention. For those of you who've been following me since 2020, when I first started this channel, you know, I think what they're about to show us, what they're getting us ready for, is possibly the fake alien invasion that I told you all about, or Project Bluebeam. One of the two is what I think. Okay, now with that all been said, but before we go to that, I forgot to tell you guys that Google is being sued for Gmail. Gmail and Google is being sued supposedly for a $425 million lawsuit about us that have emails with them. So let's get into it. Now, of course, everybody has Gmail. So even though it's a class action lawsuit, everybody's probably only going to get about $2 at the end of the day.
Gmail account, you're going to want to listen to this. Gmail has found themselves in this huge lawsuit, and now they owe us $425 million. This lawsuit is about Google taking our data and selling it to third parties. Even if you had your cookies turned off, you were still being tracked. Google tried to deny it, but the jury was like, I don't think so. Now they owe us this massive chunk of money. You might be thinking, everybody has a Gmail account, so how much am I really going to get from this? Well, 98 million Americans qualify for this. Not everybody is going to apply. In fact, a very small percentage will actually file, which means the payouts on this one can be huge. This one is showing coming soon in my Settlemate app, so I set a notification to notify me when this one opens up. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and as always, come back for more class action news. Gmail is being sued.
Okay, so what do y'all think about that? I find it all interesting. Okay, I find it all interesting. Now let's get into this this trailer. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Hold on, beloveds. I forgot which email I sent it to. Hold on for just.
Lights shining down in the moonlight, girl, can't help but feel this connection flow with every move. Do along the floor where you smile. Makes me want more. Heartbeat and sing at the sound of soul. Tonight we dance, just lose control. I can't resist. Don't take it, you move. It's gonna this. Your power is easy. Like the stars above, this night is ours. Wrapped in our love. The bandits play a melody sweet, can't help but feel the rhythm in my feet. Thinking like that. Like the record spin. On those to dance, where we both live. You felt that groove. But don't worry, here's a little bit of sound.
Right, here it is. I had to go back and look it up. I don't know how. It was not in my emails. Maybe I accidentally deleted it at some point. Now I'm going to use an overlay over this. Hold on, let me delete some of this stuff.
We're interrupting our coverage. There has been a threat to publicly release government material long shrouded in secrecy. Are they people?
No.
Do you think there could be others?
People have a right to know the truth.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world, all at once.
If you do this, there's no undoing it.
There will be no other day like tomorrow.
Okay, so Luke's nefarious. Okay, but hold on. Let's go to another clip.
If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you?
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today is today's.
People have a right to know the truth. It belongs to 7 billion people.
What is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm gonna show you.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world, all at once.
Okay, well. So what do you all think? Now, this guy did a video that I just saw as I was looking for Disclosure Day. It says a congressman is now saying that aliens could be stationed in underwater bases off the U.S. coast. I'm sorry, say what? Let's see what he's talking about. Now, I haven't seen this. I literally just saw it. Hold on, here we go.
Is now saying that aliens could be stationed in underwater bases off the US coast. My thing is either show us the aliens or just stop at this point. And I'm so serious when I say that because we have 3 Eye Atlas and that whole situation came and went. And then we have this Disclosure Day film that's supposed to be coming out later this year. I understand that they're trying to give all of this disclosure or whatever, but it's just like either show the aliens or just stop for real. Because at this point, it just feels like they're like fueling it. And a lot of people are just going to see this as a way for them to distract from everything else currently going on in the world. But another part of me just feels like they have to disclose this information. Like they have to let people know that we have aliens in underwater bases off the US coast. And it's like, I don't understand why we're getting this information if you guys are not going to show us all of this stuff. Because the thing is, you guys have photographic evidence of all of these things. So why is everyone just talking about the disclosure and we're not actually just seeing the real life disclosure? You know what I mean? Like when it comes to the alien situation, they either need to show us the evidence of the aliens and their craft and like everything that's involved with that, or they just need to actually stop. Because it's actually becoming ridiculous at this point. Like it's been ridiculous, but the disclosure is not being disclosed in the way that I feel like it should. I'm just saying. It feels like they're playing around with, oh, aliens are real, but like it's still a mystery. Like we're not going to show you any evidence yet. It's like, just stop trying to drag along this story. I just don't understand that. They need to hurry up and just say what it is and show us what it is and not just be what it is. Because otherwise it just feels like they're trying to have all of these things coming out at the same time. And it just feels like an overload of information into the system, which also feels intentional.
They absolutely could be trying to do that as well. Now, here's what it says. U.S. Representative Tim Burchett stated that he believes non-human alien entities have underwater bases on Earth. Okay, he's a vocal proponent of government transparency regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena, also known as UAPs and UFOs, made these claims during a discussion about underwater craft. That's when he made them, suggesting they may have been stationed in the ocean for thousands of years. Well, thanks for telling us, Mr. Burchett. Please. I'm sorry, I've always known this, okay? At least suspected it. Ever since I read Jim Marrs' book, and they swore up and down Jim Marrs was such a conspiracy theorist. He wrote a book years ago, Alien Agenda, okay? And he's also the one that wrote, if I'm not mistaken, that book that I was just telling you about, Rule by Secrecy. So they always tried to say that he was a conspiracy theorist. But here we are with things that he was talking about and writing about, and now they're talking about it, okay? I find it all interesting. With that being said, let's get into this moment of Black history, because I have to be out of here. Y'all know I like to keep these videos under the 2-hour mark, if I can. So with that all being said, let's talk about it. Now, the person we're about to be talking about here today is a man by the name of Simeon Toko. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, likes up. Everyone, please like and share. Now, have any of you heard of this man before? I'm pretty sure that you have. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Let's share my screen.
A man once terrified a colonial empire because he refused to stay dead. Born February 24th, 1918, in Angola's mist-shrouded village of the Celestial Mountain, Simeon Toko was no king, no soldier, just a telegraph operator with a voice that could move crowds. But in 1949, in Leopoldville, that voice became thunder. He prayed for the Holy Spirit to break the chains of Portuguese rule. And then the impossible began. They said the blind could see, the crippled walked, the dead breathed again. Thousands followed him. The Tokoist Church was born, faith forged in rebellion. But empires don't fear armies, they fear miracles. So they hunted him, shot him point blank in the head, tortured him for decades in sunless cells.
even ran him through with a tractor's blades, dismembering his body and scattering the pieces. Each time, he regenerated. Each time, his legend grew. When Angola won its freedom in 1975, Toko walked free too, preaching until his final days. January 1st, 1984, amid apocalyptic thunder, they said he died. But when they opened the coffin, nothing. No body, no trace, only whispers in the wind. What rose from the mountain never truly falls. Did you know a man once terrified?
Now, I find this also interesting, right? So now I'm going to go to some footage of the real Simeon Toko actually speaking. Okay, or so they say. Now, Leno Rex says, peace and blessings, Queen. Thank you for doing what you do. This is better than the news. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, let's get into it.
Eu, como já disse, sou o Simeão Gonçalves, que estou falando convosco. A todos os nativos do território português, no Congo português, nós somos portugueses e não somos estrangeiros. Embora entre nós alguns receberam uma educação estrangeira, não quer isso dizer que sejam considerados ou sejam chamados estrangeiros. Portanto, eu apresento minha voz, meus amigos portugueses.
Simeon Toko was a black African man born in 1918, and he had superhuman abilities similar to Jesus Christ. He was healing people, and he even summoned cherubim and seraphim angels to help defeat the Belgian army. As crazy as this may sound, this is a true story. We'll get into the other unbelievable superhuman things he did in a bit. The elite powers do not want the world knowing about this man because he was the first of many more Messiah-like figures to emerge. In the 1960s, Simeon Toko said more people like him would come and that the elites wouldn't be able to stop us. It is believed Simeon Toko was the first of the 144,000 described in the Bible. He was healing people and performing supernatural miracles. Some of the superhuman qualities Simeon Toko had was regenerating after attempts on his life, even if he was completely eradicated. One time doctors heard of the rumors of his mystical abilities of being immortal, and they removed his heart surgically to see if it was true. He woke up from the operating table saying, "Why are you persecuting me like this? Give me my heart back," leaving the doctors completely shocked. Simeon Toko was reaching people with his message, and the cabal attempted to silence him for lack of better words. Once they found out he had Jesus-like abilities, but no attempts on his life succeeded, and he just kept coming back. A man who couldn't be unalived. This is a true story that has several first-hand accounts and physical evidence that this man was immortal as well. There was a plan to unalive this immortal man named Simeon Toko in the ocean. The reason there were so many attempts on Toko's life is because the elites didn't want him here because he was a Messiah-like figure performing miracles and began gaining too much power in their eyes. He was a prophet of God. In the plane with Simeon Toko sat a Catholic priest and members of Salazar's secret police known as PIDEDGS, including the pilot and co-pilot. Their mission was to fly out over the Atlantic Ocean and, after about an hour's distance, push Simeon Toko into the deep sea. The moment the PIDE agents rose to subdue him and carry out their plan, Simeon Toko stood up and ordered the plane to stop. The aircraft stopped in midair. It stood still, not advancing an inch, nor rose or fell backward. The crew was stricken by panic. The priest could hardly breathe and hoarsely huffed out desperate prayers. Simeon lifted his eyes and hands towards the heaven, and after a short prayer he ordered the plane to move again. At once the plane started moving. The angels fought against soldiers in Africa. The supernatural man that emerged from the Congo named Simeon Toko summoned 1,000 angels to help defeat oppressive soldiers. On January 4th, 1959, several witnesses attest to seeing multiple cherubim and seraphim angels holding off the Belgian army. Citizens of Leopoldville saw an army of about 1,000 angels, which they described as being non-terrestrials. They explained that these angelic creatures had very muscular bodies. These human-looking beings, with supernatural powers, were demonstrating an extraordinary force. For example, a witness saw one of them on the road sweeping a 5-ton truck with one hand. Belgian soldiers opened fire on these angels, but to no effect. The colonial army was in a panic and disorder. The angels disappeared as suddenly as they had appeared. According to the African natives that day, Simeon Toko had unleashed his army.
Simeon Toko Immortal Gene.
Oh, hold on. Let me go right back. Hold on, beloveds. Didn't mean to click off that. Hold on. Hold on. Danielle says the minister described these angels as black people. Yeah, I've told you all that before. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with the minister. Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Now, with that all being said, now listen to this.
Photo 51. Photo 51 was a picture taken in 1951 by Rosalind Franklin and Raymond Gosling that provided the picture that allowed the structure of DNA to be, discovered. The same year Photo 51 was taken was the year that Henrietta Lacks transitioned, and her cervix was taken from her, unknowingly to her and her family, by a doctor, because she was the first cell that they were able to document that was a mortal cell line. And an immortalized cell line is a group of cells that can continue to replicate infinitely. So all the biology books, mitochondria, cells, blood that you know to this day, that you studied in school, has everything.
Hold on. I didn't watch this whole video, so I'm just being careful here. Hold on. I see somebody getting out of the water and they don't have on a shirt. I don't know what they have on. I don't know if they're getting out with nothing on. So let me just wait. Put that on the screen for a second.
To do with the studies of these HeLa cells, Henrietta Lacks cells.
Okay, it's fine.
That they got in 1951.
And one of the chapters was Nikola Tesla with T. Peterson and Nikola Tesla Black Ops. Yep.
Now, this is David Wilcox. This is the same guy who was exposing the cabal that you heard on that video a little while ago.
There's one of them is about Black Jesus, where the Son of Being appearing in Africa. Yep. And I just want to know if you know any more information you would share with us.
Yeah, the Black Jesus story. The Black Jesus story was probably one of the most shocking things I ever heard. It came from my insider, Jacob, I call him that in the book, who actually was working for the Rothschilds and still does, and also is a whistleblower who doesn't really do what they want, but continues to work for them because he feels like there's some very serious extraterrestrial threats to Earth and that what they're doing is very necessary to protect us. So the story goes that in the 1960s, there was a black man in Africa who came in with abilities complementary to those of Jesus. And he was performing miracles. He was starting to get people to listen to what he had to say. And the cabal tried to kill him. And, they could shoot him in the head and his skull would just regenerate and the flesh would grow back and he was fine. The crazy story that I heard, and remember, I was told at the time that if I disclosed this, that I would be killed, and I ended up putting it in the book anyway. The story was that this guy, they finally said, okay, we're going to bring you to the United Nations and share your message with the world. Let's get you on this flight. They bring him on this flight, and instead of bringing him to the United Nations, they shot him repeatedly. And then actually had some kind of meat grinder device, and basically like a bandsaw, I guess, and sawed up his body into a whole bunch of pieces, put him in these very like radioactive shielded containers, and then had all these fighter jets dock with the plane and fly his body parts to all corners of the world, where then these containers turned them into ash. And they thought that maybe this would defeat him, like that his body somehow, the tissue was necessary. So if they destroyed all the tissue in all these places across the world, maybe they could defeat him. Well, he then regenerated in their offices and was fully fine, fully intact. But the sad part is that he said, you guys so badly do not want me to be here that I am not going to be able to do any more. You're going to get what you want, but bear in mind that in the future, many others like me will be coming, and when they do, you will not be able to stop us.
Netflix fans are so hooked on.
Okay, so with that all being said, so I find that very interesting, but a lot of people still don't know about that. Also, that show Supercell that used to be on Netflix, oh, they hurried up and took that down. Okay, because I want you all to pay attention. Now, in that show, the people had this cell, they had sickle cell, and they had these superpowers and all of that. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Now, with that all being said, could they have been, trying to tell us that people who have sickle cell have some type of secret power that lies dormant that they don't know about, we don't know about? I don't know. But what I do know is that they absolutely know. And when I say they, I'm talking about the powers that shouldn't be. They know that Black people have some sort of genetic, superiority. They know that. Okay, that's just a fact. Okay, the researchers have said it, scientists and biologists have said it. It is just a fact. And where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that comes from? Okay, please pay attention. And the Bible says, "Ye are gods made, ye are all gods made of the Most High." Please pay attention. Now, this is Joe Rogan talking about it as well.
Was a Black African man born in 1918, and he had superhuman abilities similar to Jesus Christ. He was healing people, and he even summoned cherubim and seraphim angels to help defeat the Belgian army. But then the elite powers do not want the world knowing about this.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I just wanted you all to know that a lot of them know about this story more so than a lot of our people know about it. Okay, so but here's the thing. Do you all remember once in the chat, if you all have seen a video years ago with Denzel Washington? Denzel did an interview and he was talking about there was a movie he was supposed to be in called The Ninja They Couldn't Kill. How many of you remember that? Once in the chat. Once in the chat, because where do y'all think they got that idea from? They were trying to, in the movie, they're supposed to try to hang him, try to shoot him, stab, trying to do all these things, but they never could kill this Black man. And Denzel was supposed to play that movie. Let's go to the clip. But also, when I go to the clip, I want you to listen to the crowd that Denzel is talking to. Because when he tells them how they thought, they were saying that, oh, it's going to be funny. And there was some people that were trying to get him to do this. The people had names like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, those sorts of names, Greenberg, those sorts of names. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So these people were telling him, oh, it's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. So when he's telling this, the audience burst into laughter. But then when Denzel flipped it on them, and then he says what he says, I want you all to pay attention how the audience does not laugh. They gasp. They're like, but that just proves that they will laugh at our suffering. They will laugh at our pain. Some people will not take it seriously, but there's other people. Well, you better not dare laugh at their problems. Okay, but yet people want to compare struggles. You can't compare struggles. Okay, yeah, that's what you can't do. Now let's continue. I'm going to put an overlay over this, of course.
Broke the internet a few days ago, exposing how fucked up Hollywood is. An old video of Denzel Washington proved that he was right. Take a listen.
Being on the stage, the amount of training we had, the city party, I was very fortunate. In fact, he came to I talked to him before that, but I think it was when he came to Soldier's Play. And he said, "You're good."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and wow. I got a part in a movie in 1986. I called it The Nigga They Couldn't Kill.
Oh.
Yeah, he was supposed to be, he raped a white woman, and they tried to electrocute him, but it didn't work. And he became sort of a cult hero. No, not that one. That was the other awful one. But and then they tried to hang him, and they tried to do all this stuff. And I had a lot of training day in me. And there were some Jewish people in the audition, and I said, yeah. They said, no, it's funny. It's like they hang them and then they can't. I said, yeah, like you bring some Jewish people into a room and they think it's a shower, but it's gas. Oh. And they said, right. I said, right. That ain't funny. So to me, it wasn't funny about putting a rope around my MFing neck either. I made a point. The guy was like, who the hell is this little nigga talking like this? So anyway, make a long story long, I called Sydney and I was sick because he told me to call him. If I, I said, man, they offered me $600.
Now, Denzel claimed that they offered him $600,000 to play that movie, but he didn't play it because Sidney Poitier basically told him, that your first movies will define your career. And so he didn't play it. He didn't think it was a good idea. But $600 million, and he was just starting out. This was in 1986. Now, they must have been desperate for him to make that movie. Okay, but why? Okay.
Story was probably one of the most shocking things I ever heard. It came from my insider, Jacob, I call him that in the book, who actually was working for the Rothschilds and still does, and also is a whistleblower who doesn't really do what they want, but continues to work for them because he feels like.
Okay, I'm going to stop this one because the audio sounds terrible, and I'm going to go to the next one. David Wilcox saying Black people are the only ones generated by Earth's evolution. Okay, let's listen to this.
Why, another thing that I'm really fascinated by is Obama winning the election simply because there's only one type of human being on Earth that doesn't appear to have been seeded here by extraterrestrial races. In other words, most of the human beings on this planet are not local. There's a single blue-eyed ancestor that all human beings can be traced back to. The white person did not exist on Earth prior to about 10, 11,000 years ago because of this exchange with higher species in the time of Atlantis. That's when we started to have the first interbreeding occurring that led to blue-eyed, white-skinned people. The only people that actually seem to have been generated by the Earth's own evolution is Black people. Those are the only racial types that we have on Earth that you don't see in people that come from other planets, and that makes them very special.
Well, and I was going to ask you, of all these varieties, these 57 varieties in the galaxy, why are we so different? And we have all these different varieties on this planet. I mean, are there some planets that have 4, 5, 6 different varieties of humans, or just one?
Well, here's the deal on that score. We are very, very unique in the sense of the sheer amount of racial diversity on this planet. And this is from multiple witness testimonies and from various other sources I've used, including the Law of One material. What happened is that...
It is fascinating when you think about it, David.
Yeah, I mean, the average
You've got a planet here with different races of human beings scattered all over the planet.
Right. And if you look at our own evolutionary record and what we've gotten from anthropology, there's 5 different major seeds of human civilization that all basically occurred at the same time, independent of each other, where these people look different and they have different basic biological characteristics, and there's no real genetic linkage that ties them together of having the same species or the same racial distinction before. It's like there's 5 different groups that all showed up at once.
Science will say...
All right, so you all heard that. Now, I'm about to conclude this broadcast, but there's a couple of things I forgot to tell you all, so let me go over that really quickly. The other day when they were talking about the 6 men who were named by Ro Khanna include billionaire Leslie Wexner, which we already know, who led the parent company Victoria's Secret and hired Epstein to manage his money, and Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the CEO of Dubai-based logistics firm DB World. He also listed out 4 less well-known people: Salvatore Nuara, Zurab Michaelades, and Leonid Leonov, and Nicola Caputo. Now, Nancy May said, yes, I will confirm. DOJ is tracking the Epstein documents members of Congress search for, open, and review. I was able to navigate the system today, and I won't disclose how or the nature of how, but confirm the DOJ is tagging all documents members of Congress search, open, and review. Based on how I confirm this, there are timestamps associated with this tracking. And then Representative Jayapal says, it is totally inappropriate and against the separations of powers for the DOJ to surveil us as we search the Epstein files. Bondi showed up today with a burn book that held a printed search history of exactly what emails I searched. That is outrageous, and I intend to pursue this and stop this spying on members. Okay, Trump's people are desperate. At this point, they're very desperate, okay? It's all falling apart for them. So that all been said, I want to thank you all for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AmadeIShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AmadeIShakur, and this has been my pleasure to bring you all this information. And listen, if you're looking through any of the Epstein files for yourselves, okay, like the young lady said, please take care of your mental health. Some of the things are absolutely traumatizing and just hard to even read or watch. But especially, some of the video footage that's in there. Okay, so that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this evening. Okay, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel after this broadcast, because it seems to me that ScrewTube usually unsubscribes people after a broadcast, because when I come back to do another one, that's when I see them unsubscribe people. Okay, so please make sure you're double checking. And also, I'll see you all in the morning. I'm going to try to get on like 9 or 9:30 in the morning. Okay, if time permits. I hope so. But I'm going to try to be up early in the morning. So with that all been said, don't miss it. Okay, more news and more information. All right, so until next time, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got